Hello again, World History 2 students. Mr. Deegan here. Today we'll be working from page 2 and page 3 of your Unit 2 packet. This painting you've been looking at on your screen is an example of an Italian Renaissance artwork. Why is she grinning? Who is she? As you might know, this painting is called Mona Lisa. The painter of it is Leonardo da Vinci. He painted this from 1505 to 1510. What's the style? He used a canvas and he used oil paints to create this. This painting is a symbol of all of what the Renaissance values. It values a focus on the individual. It values a focus on nature. You see mountains and a body of water in the background. So today we're going to be talking about the Renaissance, where it began, why it began there, and what it valued. Let's start taking some notes. First, when the Renaissance took place from the 1300s to the 1500s. The starting country for the Renaissance was in Italy. What does Renaissance mean? Renaissance is a French word that literally translates to rebirth in English. So Renaissance is a rebirth or rediscovery of classical knowledge of ancient Greece and Rome. Classical knowledge. What is classical knowledge? Well, it's a capital C. It's the study of the classics, the study of art, literature, history, and philosophy of these ancient civilizations, Rome and Greece. And there's a focus on nature, not on the supernatural, not on religion as much. You see the Colosseum, an architectural masterpiece in Rome, Italy. You see the Parthenon, another masterpiece found in Athens, Greece. The Renaissance marks the beginning of the modern world. Many historians point to this time period as the beginning of modern. Before this time, you had the classical era or time period of ancient Greece and Rome. And after the classical period, classical era, you had the Middle Ages from 400 to 1300, which was called the Dark Ages by some. Dark because of the Black Plague, this disease that ravaged Europe. 1 out of 3 people died of the Black Plague during the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages was a time of intense focus on religion, not on the study of human activity. And the Middle Ages was marked by a focus on farming and agriculture and rural living. Not urban, but living in rural or country places. And the modern world of the Renaissance, this rebirth, there's a cute baby, and ideas from the classical era were rediscovered and studied more deeply. The Renaissance began in Italy. You see it here in red in Southern Europe. Why did the Renaissance begin in Italy? 3 major reasons. Number 1, Italy was a center of world trade. Goods, ideas, and technologies were all traded in Italy. Let's look at the lower left here. Here's Italy. It's surrounded on 3 sides by water, making it a peninsula. The Adriatic Sea and the Mediterranean Sea surrounded Italy, making it ideal to trade. It had easy access to other countries in Africa, in Europe, and you can actually go all the way to Asia. The second reason why the Renaissance began in Italy is because Italian city-states attracted many scholars who studied ancient Rome. Reason number 3, the Renaissance began in Italy because merchants in Italy became wealthy, so they became patrons of the arts. Merchants are trading all over, and merchants become people who give financial support to a cause. Patrons in the Renaissance were interested in art. And here she is again, Mona Lisa. She is a product of a patron. A rich silk merchant and an art patron, Francesco del Giocondo, hired Leonardo da Vinci to paint his wife, Lisa Giocondo. So this is the wife of a rich silk merchant and patron. That's who Mona Lisa is. First, let's talk about Mona Lisa's father, you might say, Leonardo da Vinci, a true Renaissance man. He's sketched himself here. Why is he a true Renaissance man? He's most famously known as a painter, the painter of Mona Lisa, but he was also a sculptor, an architect, a musician, a scientist, an inventor, an engineer. He did a lot. He was also really interested in the human body, in anatomy. He dissected human bodies to examine the skeletal, muscular, and circulatory systems. In short, he wanted to perfect the human form in art, and he made his paintings very realistic. And the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper show his ideas. We know a lot about Leonardo da Vinci because of his sketchbooks. He maintained many very creative sketchbooks. And I'm going to show you some pages of his sketchbooks that historians have found. Here's a page that tells us he was very interested in human anatomy and the accuracy and beauty of the human body. Here's another sketchbook page from Da Vinci that shows his interest in military vehicles, tanks. He was one of the first people in the world that we know of that sketched an idea for tanks, which weren't used until 400 years later. Flying machines. He was very interested in human flight. And you see some sketches that show early airplanes or early helicopters. Da Vinci was also interested in plants, and the sketchbook shows diagrams of trees and notes that he took. A second master of the Renaissance is Michelangelo, and here he is. Michelangelo, like Leonardo da Vinci, was not just a painter. He was a sculptor, he was an architect, he was a poet, he was an engineer. And he had two famous works that we're going to focus on right now. The Sistine Chapel ceiling, which took him 4 years to complete, and he painted it with famous scenes from the Bible. Also, his statue of David focuses on anatomy and a perfect human form. Here is David. He is a character from the Bible, the story of David and Goliath. And you notice the anatomical elements of this. From 1501 to 1504, Michelangelo sculpted David. And we can check off individuality. We can check off anatomy as two traits. Also, Michelangelo painted this, not on a canvas, but on a wall. This is the creation of Adam from the Sistine Chapel. He painted an entire room in Rome, Italy, from 1508 to 1512 with these types of Bible scenes. You see God giving life to the first human Adam. The Renaissance spreads from the Italian city-states that you see here to Northern Europe. Italy at that time was made up of many states, like the United States, the Papal States, where the Pope lives, the Kingdom of Naples, the Republic of Florence, and so on. So, Northern Europe becomes the place where the Renaissance starts to prosper. North to Germany, to the Netherlands, to Britain. There were many figures in the Northern Renaissance who were influential. One such man, William Shakespeare. He is a writer who returns to themes of classical literature. His many plays show these themes. Macbeth and Hamlet are two such plays. Macbeth shows personal ambition, and Hamlet shows individualism. Shakespeare also creates the sonnet, a special kind of poem. What is a sonnet? Well, it's a specific rhyme pattern that Shakespeare created. Shakespeare also invented words and phrases that we still use today. There are many phrases that we probably don't even realize are from Shakespeare. Here are 20 such phrases and words. And underneath each word, you see the play where the word appears. So thank you, Shakespeare, for some of these words that we still use today. The Northern Renaissance also had a philosopher who thought about the world in a different way. His name was Desiderius Erasmus. He was a Catholic monk from the Netherlands. The Netherlands is located in Northern Europe, northwest of Germany. You see it right here. He famously wrote In Praise of Folly, poking fun at the Catholic Church and some of its corrupt ways. And he supported the idea of humanism. In fact, he was given the nickname the Prince of the Humanists. What is humanism? It's the study of art, literature, history, and philosophy. It's a focus on nature and the interest of humans, not on supernatural, and not so much on the interest of religion and religious leaders. We're almost done. We're rounding the bend, but we need to finish our summary questions. And when you're done with those summary questions, you are finished for today. Next lesson, we will be focusing on Christianity, the history of Christianity, and other world religions, and why this isn't right. Until then, Mr. Deegan, signing off.